Five, four, three.
Good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy. I'm your host, Meffistoe, and hopefully you can hear me.
Yes.
What is the Reel McCoy, you might ask? The Reel McCoy is your weekly movie podcast where we ask you to go watch a movie, you watch it, come back to us, and we break it down for you, and we spin it all around on the old, I hate this thing. I really hate this intro. Anyway, we just ask you to go and watch movies. I'm not saying they're good or great. No, I'm just kidding. Some of them are great. Some of them are awful. But I think we think you should watch them at least once. Now, the intro is a bit rough this week because, A, my microphone decided to not work 7 minutes before the show.
Yep.
Which is something, yeah, it is what it is. Anyway, I'm Meffistoe, always with me, my hetero life mate, all my feelings. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, buddy.
And we'll say good evening to the chat with Paul, Harley, and the rest of you lurkers. This week, we are continuing our dystopian future month with a movie that really does feel like the end of the world is coming. It's here, and it's very much affecting your psyche. A movie called The Road. Now, I before this week, or before we kind of made this thing, I've never seen The Road before, but my wife has, and she was like, "Oh, you're doing The Road? Great." And that was the reaction, basically. And I thought, well, that's okay. That's going to be fun. Apparently, it was a lot of fun. So I've watched it only once, and I don't want to watch this movie ever again in my life.
I'm telling you, it's one of those films where we go, it's a good movie, but oh god, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, don't be mistaken. Initial reaction to this movie is, yeah, I can see why people think it's good or great or whatever. but I don't want to watch it again.
No, that's fine.
All my feelings. You had a few feelings to share with me backstage. Before,
Yeah.
like not now, before, like a week ago.
This movie always hits me in a very rough spot because it was a very rough time in my life when this movie came out too, and it coincided with a couple of life events, as you are aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, them all coinciding. The first time I watched this, I'm not even ashamed to admit it. I bawled like a fucking baby.
Well, I did not, for a reason, because my heart is black and my tears are a few. By the way, your mic is still sounding weird.
Still?
Yeah. All right. But like I said, I'll give an intro to this thing. The Road is an independent film by director John Hillcoat, and it's sort of like in keeping with the book called The Road that came out in 2006. Yes, I know I'm going into a little bit of the behind the scenes,
That's
but
fine. That's fine. Go ahead.
bear with me. I'm trying to give all my feelings some time to jiggle.
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
You're still sounding like your microphone is like your camera microphone rather than your microphone.
I don't know what that could be.
Okay, we'll just keep it with that. Like, I can hear you well, but it's okay. Right. You know what? Let's just go ahead and dive deep into this movie with a little segment we call Behind the Screens.
Sound production, take 2.
And we'll say hello to the Raiders from the Salty Nerd podcast. I think they have arrived. I saw a message coming in. Welcome, everybody. And please enjoy the show. What is Behind the Screens? Behind the Screens is where we turn to All My Feelings and get the lowdown on everything that is behind the scenes, production stuff. Take it away, dude.
So, as you kind of mentioned before, it's based initially off of Carthy's book, The Road, obviously. But it was actually, initially it was producer Nick Weisler who used his own independent funding in order to get the rights for it after he read a pre-release version of The Road.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was in love with it and he wanted it immediately. He brought John Hillcoat on after he had seen his 2000 film, The Proposition, and thought that he could lend credence to the very desolate nature of The Road.
Yeah.
Yeah. During filming, when scenes couldn't be shot due to weather, Hillcoat and Mark Farker, the head of special effects on the shoot, would actually just do external shots of things in the rain. Specifically, this was a lot of the scenes were shot in post-Katrina areas.
Louisiana, yeah.
Of Louisiana, yeah, of New Orleans, yeah. And a lot of areas that were outside of, I believe it's Pittsburgh, which some areas outside of Pennsylvania are a little bit like, I'm hearing deliverance.
I like the word derelict. It's a word that comes from Zoolander.
Yes. You can derelict my balls.
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
Yes. But Mark Farker, which still his name's hilarious to me. The dumbest thing. You got to get some laughs in this.
I know.
Because we're about to get rope leak. Yeah. There's only one good joke in this movie too.
There's a joke in this movie?
Yeah. Robert Duvall's character Eli, the old man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So he actually digitally removed most of the greenery in scenes that actually had any of it in it, just to actually get the atmosphere correct.
Yeah.
Weschler was actually very, very intelligent with the way that he actually sprung this upon studios trying to get it pitched. Mm-hmm. He would not actually pitch it until Viggo Mortensen was already attached after he had finished Appaloosa. Okay. And also an entire full script, done, soup to nuts. It was ready to go.
Ah, cool. Okay.
So there was no way they can go, well, we'll have to wait and see. It's like, no, we need the money now because we don't want you backing out once you read the script.
Yeah.
Because it's rough.
Yeah.
Mortensen actually starved himself
We can tell.
and slept in the clothes that he wore as man.
Okay.
And it was so much that when he actually went to a local store, they wanted to kick him out because they thought he was a homeless man.
The story. Every single time we have a Viggo Mortensen starred movie, there's always those stories. Viggo went to a bar and stuff happened.
Oh, yeah, because it was with Eastern Promises. And also another movie where Viggo's just like, so I'm done doing Lord of the Rings, so I'm just going to show my ass.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I've seen too much of him in Captain Fantastic, and I've seen a little bit more of him this time.
Yeah. So, well, and also in Eastern Promises.
And Eastern Promises as well, yeah.
So, Kodi Smit-McPhee, who was chosen to play Boy, he was chosen because his father his father's going to come up later. He's actually in the movie. But,
okay.
But they actually did a shot by shot, just a reenactment of the scene of man teaching Boy how to kill himself.
Yeah, one of the rough spots in the movie, I think.
Yeah. So, one funny bit is Coca-Cola didn't want the product in the movie. I wonder why.
That's something I have two conflicting things that I've seen on my research.
Well, because I know that
one of them was they didn't care, and the other one is they went to get permission thinking Coca-Cola will not care, and then Coca-Cola did not care, so they put it in. So I don't know.
Oh, well, that's a little bit conflicting because I know that Viggo Mortensen actually had to speak with a Coca-Cola rep in order to get them approval rights to utilize it. But yeah. Anyway,
what I read from where I read it for, not on IMDb, because IMDb says something about the Coke, but it seems a bit far-fetched. So I read something else, and they said the Coca-Cola company didn't really care that much. I don't know. Never mind. So they used an actual Coke can.
Yes, yeah. While it's very true to the initial novel, it is. There are only a couple of scenes that deviate from it, which we'll talk about when we go to the review. But one scene that they shot, but they decided to remove because even John Hillcoat went, "This is too much." There's a scene where they're roasting a baby on a spit.
Oh, yeah. I know about that one. About that one.
Yeah.
It's a bit it's a bit rough.
Yeah.
So, not sure where it is. Is it in the manor or a little bit later? I don't remember.
It's actually supposed to be around where they find the woman and the child. Remember they're hiding away. Yeah, they stumble upon their campsite.
And they stumble upon a camp where on the third skull, I was like, run.
Yeah.
The third skull, I was like, go, please go, run away now.
So the original, actually, the writer who adapted the screenplay, Joe Personal, was hired to adapt it specifically because he wanted no changes in the dialogue.
Yeah. Okay.
Hillcoat actually wanted to film the scene in chronological order, which is fucking crazy.
Yes. Okay.
He wanted the shots to actually go in chronological order. Filming every scene by scene by scene. It's like, that's absolutely insane.
Yeah, just because of the different locations, it wasn't possible to do.
Yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to say is probably the best. Some of the best stuff is that Viggo Mortensen was actually against doing any voiceovers.
Yes. because I think Hillcoat told him that we needed to listen to his thoughts, so he had to voice them because it was in the book as something he said to himself or something like that. So he needed those lines to be in the movie somewhere. So he kind of convinced Viggo Mortensen that the man's thoughts should be expressed in order for people to understand what's going on. That's what I got. Are you silent but deadly? Now you're muted. Feelings? Either I'm being disconnected or...
Wait one second. I think, okay.
Okay.
One second.
I think I had a little bit of a thing going on. Guys in the chat, please, if we're lagging, please let us know. I think we're a bit lagging on my end.
Yeah. 1 minute.
I can hear you now. Feelings is back. Yeah. Are you okay?
Okay. I think, yep.
Okay. Your microphone is way better now.
Yeah. Is it that okay.
Yeah.
I found the problem.
Lower the volume a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Paul says we're all good.
Found the issue. Sorry about that.
Keely Chow.
But anyway, so
Keely Chow, thank you very much. Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. One month celebration on your membership. Thank you very much. And he says you're all good. Yes. Thank you.
And the other thing was, also with the voiceovers, Cormac McCarthy actually loved the voiceovers.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because typically when they have that internal monologue, there is no way for the audience to really truly enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought that Viggo Mortensen did such a great job actually doing the voiceovers.
Yeah, I thought so too. I thought it was great.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Everything else is just kind of interspersed because there's not really a lot of issues that happened during production of this movie. I mean, it got greenlit very quick. Casting was a breeze. The only odd thing that's kind of funny is that Charlize Theron at the time was married to Stuart Townsend.
Mm-hmm.
Stuart Townsend got turned down for the role of Aragorn, even though he was right next to Viggo Mortensen as possibly portraying Aragorn.
No, Townsend was actually cast.
Oh, that's right. He was
let go.
Was let go.
I think we talked about it when we, and they brought in Viggo.
So,
all right.
But again, but again, at that time, Townsend was married to Charlize Theron. And it's like, huh.
All right, cool. Before we dive in, because it's a pretty heavy movie, we'll do a breather and we'll play our first game of the night. It is called Missing Marquee. Missing Marquee for the uninitiated is where we take 10 posters of movies, have their text written off. We display them, and Oh My Feelings and the chat will have to guess which movie this is. Let me set this up because I had to do a full-on reset before we actually went live. So just a minute. Here we go. We'll add Mr. Feelings to this scene.
Sorry about this, everybody. We've been having a lot of technical issues today.
Yeah, and it's like, and we wanted to get it right and do well by the movie. So we'll do this. We'll share this, and here we go. First movie, go.
I don't remember it. Like Tomcats or something.
It's not Tomcats, but it's something to do with Tomcats. I see you, Daisy Girl. I saw you.
Nope.
Chat. You're all good. Aristocats.
Aristocats.
It is.
Yeah. Okay.
The only clue I have for this is the only movie that Jeff Bridges got an Oscar for. surprisingly enough.
Really, I'm absolutely drawing a blank.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
It's a hard one. It's sort of like an Oscar.
I think also that the road has me all kind of messed up mentally right now. So.
Oh, all right. You'll get a few of them. Chat is.
I know, Paul. You've got it, Paul.
No,
I know.
I can't wait for Paul. This is Crazy Heart.
Oh, Crazy Heart. Okay, that's just Critters.
Critters is correct. Actually, Critters too, but never mind.
Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, I don't remember the name of the movie, but I know what it's about. The man who donates sperm, but it's used so often that he has thousands of kids.
He has like 500 plus kids. Yes.
Yeah,
That's the movie.
I've seen this movie once, and I do not remember the name of it.
I've seen it 3 times. It's hilarious every single time. It's one of Vince Vaughn's like best like acting performances. If like really, because it's sort of like starts off as a comedy, but then it gets into like this deep drama about responsibility and all that stuff.
All of a sudden, I'm making a joke to myself. I know it's not the name of it, but it's like, is it like Brendan Fraser's Encino Man, but it's Encino Man?
No, but it's close. It's Delivery Man.
Okay. Well, okay. Close.
Can zoom in.
I am stumped today.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I thought this was an easy.
We're having a bad day today.
Oh, then you chose the wrong movie to cover.
Yeah, I know.
Remember, Paul is stumped as well. Everybody's stumped today. Holy hell. I guess something in the air. This is Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Oh, never mind.
Mr. Nanny.
Yeah, I know. There's a reason. Whoa. Nope.
Nope. Not that.
Not that.
It's not Blue Steel.
It's not Blue Steel, no. It's the other one he made right around that time. Just before he made Bad Boys.
Oh, and Black Knight too.
Black Knight. It's that same like mid 90s era. 92, 93.
Like Diamond something?
No, close. It is Nothing to Lose.
I just remembered that one specifically because of the fact that there's a scene where he talks to, I do believe it's Tim Robbins' wife, and says, "Val, your ass is fat." No, it's PHT. No, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Is this supposed to be Waterworld?
Not Waterworld, no. Waterworld wishes it had.
The core.
The core is correct. Paul is blitzing it for you.
The Equalizer?
The Equalizer is correct.
Is that the Tooth Fairy? No, that's the
Tooth Fairy. That's Vin Diesel, not The Rock.
Actually, I would like to just one of them to hear that just so they could get pissed off at each other again. Supposed to be a remake of Mr. Nanny?
It is not a remake of Mr. Nanny, but it is a remake of Mr. Nanny. That's why I had Mr. Nanny on. It was
definitely have not seen this one.
Me too. This is The Pacifier.
Never heard of it.
This, I'm going to switch back to Mr. Nanny. It is the same exact formula as Mr. Nanny. Like, same exact formula. Not to mention the fact that The Rock, which you said it did the Tooth Fairy, also had a movie where he takes care of young kids that are not his own, a la Mr. Nanny.
Yeah.
So it's all gravy, baby.
Paul, thank you for being here, buddy. I appreciate it.
All right, cool. Let's start with this.
I got to get back in. I got to get back in film review shape, man. I'm telling you, I'm off my game.
Yeah, I know you've been too busy lately. That's why.
Yeah.
By the way, you can skip Furiosa. By the way, Just skip it.
Have you seen it already? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a 6. You could skip it. Like, did you like Mad Max Fury Road? Like it?
The first time as a film, nah, there are a lot of plot holes and the narrative doesn't stand up cohesively. The only thing I really enjoyed about it was the spectacle of it. The spectacle of it was fantastic.
Okay, so if you're into spectacle, Furiosa is just a continuation of that.
Okay.
That's,
Did they have the guy with the flaming guitar again? Because that was pretty much the best part.
You see him for a moment.
Okay.
See him for a moment. Yeah, Paul says, no, I just like the cars. It's a lot of like gear porn. There's a lot of gear porn.
Okay.
In the movie, but otherwise, to be fair, it's more of the Chris Hemsworth movie rather than Anya Taylor-Joy, like the Anya Tyler, whatever her name is, movie.
Taylor-Joy, yeah, the one, the lady who was like, I think you're probably an alien, but I can't prove it.
Exactly. It's more of a Chris Hemsworth movie rather than her movie, which is weird because you're going in to see Furiosa and the other guy. That's on a nutshell my review, probably.
Okay.
All right, not Fury Road. The Road.
The Road. Yeah.
The Road, not the Fury Road, but The Road. Starts off with, to be fair, do you remember that we discussed the fact that Viggo Mortensen took a horse after Lord of the Rings and he took care of him till he died? He is in this movie for a split second in this kind of starting montage where everything is bright, everything is hopeful. Viggo and Charlize from the Fury Road, Charlize, never mind. They're a happy couple, and then something happened. Now, please explain this apocalypse.
Now, that's the great thing is there is no explaining it.
Yeah, I kept waiting for an explanation, waiting, and there is no explanation.
It's not even explained in the book.
That's what I was going for.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's do the research and see if it's intentional or is it source material. And it's definitely source material. And the director, Hillcoat, said that he really didn't want to give any sort of like, is it a nuclear war? Is it a meteor hit? I'm going to keep it ambiguous and be done with it. I love the fact that they went to one of the locations was Mount St. Helens. And I'm going to actually pull to that particular moment.
As an aside, as you're pulling that up, just the reason why they didn't do that was because even when Cormac McCarthy wrote the book, it's supposed to be focusing on them in the aftermath, them struggling to survive. It's not about what happened. What happened is the past. That's it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same. It feels like it's more concentrated on the struggle, on technically on the road, meaning they're walking through it. They're having these many struggles, and it really didn't matter what really happened. It's just it happened.
Correct.
That's it. Yeah. Thank you, One Punch Man Tolkien fan. Thank you for that raid. I'm all the salty nerd. I can't even speak. All the salty nerds are much welcome here. I'm going to switch over to here because this is, if you've seen anything about the St. Helens eruption, you know that there were a lot of trees that just died and either left standing or fell down. And there's a great shot. I couldn't find it now, but there's a great shot of there's a lot of like trees that fell down and just stayed dead on the floor. And it's kind of a magnificent shot because that's real. It happened. And the entire area kind of looks grayish.
Yeah.
And
it was just the aftermath of pyroclastic flow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it kind of captures that, something really bad happened and everything died. Like everything died.
And what's interesting too is from the beginning, with that first shot with man and woman, when he runs to the bath and starts running the water,
Mm-hmm.
you can already tell that he's above the common knowledge because you know what he's doing. He's
No,
trying to get as much drinkable water as he possibly can.
until it stops. Yeah.
That's why she said, like, what are you doing running a bath? No.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it, but it makes sense. It makes sense. And it's so weird because they don't really say where they are, just where they're going. So they're going to the coast, and there's a map, roughly a map, but you don't know which coast it actually is. To me, when I see like hills and that sort of area, I'm
It appears like it's
Wyoming,
the East
Montana.
Coast. It looks like it looks like from where they're going, it looks like they're traveling along toward the East Coast. Probably because I'm a little bit biased because of where they filmed most of the material as well as would be
Yeah,
along that
Pennsylvania.
path.
Yeah.
And outside of New Orleans as well. So it's like that would make more sense. I could see it them if they were on like a ranch in say what would actually really make sense if they were like on a ranch in like say anywhere in Oklahoma or something, and then they were moving south to go through the southern states to the coast.
But they seem like, I mean, Viggo's character, the man, seems like a guy who maybe not a prepper with a bunker and everything, but they survived for a few years until
Yeah.
there was technically no hope. We'll get to that, but they seem to survive quite a few years. And through the flashbacks, we know this as the first act of the movie kind of goes back and forth between the story of the man and the boy, kind of traveling, almost getting caught by the first kind of roving band of cannibals. And then it kind of flashes back to the past. Ooh, I can hear my family getting back home. So they're about to burst through the door. But yeah, we'll continue. Kind of like there's a lot of these scenes where it seems like it's snow because it's cold, but they're sort of moving from areas where there's no snow at all, just a little bit of rain or no rain at all, and then kind of going back into snow.
And what's interesting, you
weird
get
to me.
more of a
That's
sense
one
of it in the book than you do in the film of how long it has been since woman has left.
Yeah. I mean, when she left, the boy wasn't this age. He was a little bit younger, I think, right?
Kind of.
Not really.
Not really. It's more of a thing where she even mentions the fact before she leaves, she's like, just be sure to go south because he won't survive another winter. Because that's just what brought it up when you mentioned snow.
Yeah, but like I said, you can see when they go into that, like, is it an AM PM kind of a thing? Where they go in, there's like lots of snow on the ground, and just a few, like a scene and a half later, they're literally in a field, like trying to keep warm, but there's no snow on the ground at all.
And they awaken to a brush fire as well, which,
Yeah.
to be fair, they pretty much were the catalyst behind that brush fire too.
I don't know. Every time they kind of look up and there's like earthquakes, or not really earthquake, but like quakes and stuff, you don't really know what is going on. If it's a real quake, or is it like gunfire or artillery, you don't actually do know, which keeps you always on your toes. I was always on my toes. What is about to happen? What's the next big challenge that they're going to face?
You know what my just crackpot theory of actually what happened is that this is, I'm glad that you mentioned Mount St. Helens before, because I believe that this was actually the aftermath of what would happen if a mega volcano actually did erupt.
Oh, so like the big caldera in
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone, yeah.
So that, like, in the aftermath is they'll still be they're having after quakes because the fault lines are still shifting
Yeah.
from that much tectonic movement. So that would kind of make sense, and also how everything died.
Yes. Yes. They do mention the fact that I think it's in the voiceover that all the plants are dead.
Yes.
All the animals are dead, which makes sense. If the vegetation dies, the animals die. And there's a moment where they find like this container with a beetle that actually made it alive. So even the bugs died.
Well, because they did find crickets at one point in time,
Yeah.
which is odd because, as an aside, during that, it was actually Kodi, Smit-McPhee, and Viggo Mortensen actually bonded over eating crickets together,
I
rehearsing the scene. Yeah.
hold.
Yep.
All right. That was daughter number one, soon son number one. I put up the picture of Viggo Mortensen because I wanted to talk to you about this, and I'm doing this on purpose. One of the things, and you mentioned the guy with special effects. One of the things that were seamless was the fact that the movie itself was monotone in terms of how it looks. All the colors are very muted. It's very gray. The sky is always gray. Now they had troubles with it because sometimes they had sunlight, right? They had blue skies, so they had to tint everything down with CGI.
There's little man.
Good night. Close the door, please. So they had to tint everything with gray. Now, everything is gray until a certain point where I'm going to wait for that particular point where you suddenly see color. So they're literally brought back to life, and then it gets muted down again.
Oh, the waterfalls. Yeah.
No. There's the
there's
waterfall
that,
bit, and there's the other bit. We'll talk about it. But I like it when a director has that sort of a vision. And we kind of discussed it when we talked about The Matrix, where The Matrix is tinted green when you're inside, but when you're outside, it's sort of like normal coloring.
Oh yeah, definitely. One thing I did want to kind of address to is the overall, the greatest fear that is really prevalent throughout the film are the raiders, the cannibals.
Yes. Yeah.
And it's not even just like the fact that we're probably going to starve to death. It's just an inevitability unless we resort to this.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And we also have the one of the other thing is the harsh and just how utterly dire the sets of circumstances are when the two actually fall upon the first barn, and the boy finds the family of farmers that have hung themselves.
Yes.
And the boy even asks, like, why would they do that? And the man tells him flat out, you know why.
Yeah. He knows exactly why.
And then teaches him again, like, oh, so this is, if you get caught, this is what you do. And shows him how to basically shoot himself.
And this is like minute 9 of the movie, right? Sort of like minute 9. And you're like barely in this journey, and already there are dire consequences immediately. These are the stakes. Yeah, these are the stakes of the entire movie. If something happens, you know what to do, because the alternative is bad, like bad. Mm-hmm. And when to just smack you over the head to make us as the audience understand, we get this first roving band of cannibals.
Yes. One thing I was going to say real quick right before this scene was when woman is actually giving birth.
Yes.
There. Initially, Hillcoat actually wanted to utilize actual birthing screams and dub them over, but Charlize Theron flatly refused and had the screams done herself.
Really?
Yeah.
So no screaming sound effects at all.
Nope. That's
No
surely
William Tell. Nothing.
no. You mean no Wilhelm scream?
Wilhelm scream. William
No,
Tell.
no William Tell.
It's William Tell. Scream. Never mind, dude. Never mind. It's
right.
from William Tell, the TV show. That's where the scream came from.
Yes, I know, but it's more popularly known as the Wilhelm scream.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh,
So we do have the cannibals. The father is awoken by the cannibals arriving. One of the cannibals on the back of the truck, that's Kodi Smit-McPhee's dad.
okay.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't have any lines. He's just there.
No, he's just one of them.
Yeah. Okay. One of the things that was really intense about this whole thing is the fact that, yeah, the cannibal has a gun pointing at him, but he's really not scared at all, right?
No, because he
like-
actually sees pretty much right through him, and if he had not threatened Boy, he wouldn't have shot him. Because he's right. He goes like, no, you know what? I think you're chicken shit.
Yep. And that kind of puts man in a position where, and again, I urge you to watch the movie before doing this podcast, because one of the things that is most prevalent is the fact that, and we know this a little bit later, I'm going to jump ahead for this particular point, is that they had a gun, they had 3 bullets in it, and man shot 1 bullet to like get rid of an attack, like an intruder, which leaves 2 bullets, which means wife, son, and father, one of them is going to live or something without a bullet, which pushes her to commit the suicide eventually.
Essentially, yeah.
Essentially losing hope and going off into the dark and committing.
We'll talk about that more when we get to that scene, because that scene's
But the fact that the dad has now 2 bullets, which in the scene with the hanging people, he kind of reiterates on how to do it, and now he has to shoot this guy and run away from the cannibals in order to like not get caught and not get eaten, essentially. But it doesn't seem like it was, because they didn't really chase them that much. It didn't feel to me like they were like on the cusp of getting caught for some reason. I don't know what it is, but it didn't seem like the first group of cannibals were about to catch them.
No, not really. That's probably because they found their dead colleague and figured, well,
here's
dinner.
Yeah.
And you get to see what happens to him when they go back for the cart. But what's interesting is with that that they have the man poses the question to himself, and the one thing that runs through my mind is, can you do that when the time comes?
Yeah.
Can you kill him in order to save him?
And to me, there were a lot of moments in this movie, including that one, where I was like, is this a setup? Is this the setup to the horrific thing that you're going to experience in the 3rd act or not? And it kept coming all throughout this movie. It feels like they're telling you something or showing you something that is going to happen later on, but they flip it on. It doesn't really happen the way they lead you to believe it's going to happen.
Correct. One bit about this scene, especially when Boy breaks down crying, Kodi Smit-McPhee is not actually faking that. He's legitimately crying. Because when they were washing his face in the river, the water was ice cold.
Oh.
And Hillcoat had told him that we only have to do 2 takes, but in one of the takes, the sun broke through and hit the scene, so they had to do a 3rd take. So that's him just literally crying.
Yeah, hold on the phone. Hold the fort. I want to talk about this thing.
So the Coke scene. Um, One bit right before that, we do have the overturned cart, which is interesting because it shows the cannibals how they actually treat their own. They basically have already dissected him and consumed him and defecated upon his remains. So they apparently did think too highly of that gang member. We have the bit before this as well. Is we have the flashback with woman, and the realistic expectation is woman is already the one who is the realist in their relationship. She's flat out stating the fact that she was actually almost furious with him, the fact that that man is trying to save not only her but boy as well, and boy basically being the only reason why he's still going on anymore.
Sorry about that.
I'm actually talking about scenes that we skipped over. Just
yeah, okay.
So we're talking about. I was talking about the interspersed scene between man and woman, where woman states out in her anger with man about, and it's stating it flat out like they're gonna R word her and the boy, and then they're gonna eat us. That's what's going to happen.
It was her sort of like her fear of not getting graped.
Yes. Yeah, and then we have also the assertion that man has to keep boy going as well, where boy always asks him, "Are we still the good guys?"
Yeah, that's the thing we can discuss. Again, not following the movie step by step is it comes up a few times in the movie where it's man sets boy up to remember we are the good guys. They are the bad guys. They could be anybody else. And it's sort of like from the boy's perspective is, yeah, I need to know who's with us, who's against us. Why are we doing this? We're keeping the flame, which is keeping our humanity or keeping whatever.
Our sense of morality. Yeah. So like we're the good guys.
We're not, basically, we're not cannibals, and we're not going to resort to that to the point of death, basically, and not go down that road because that road leads to bad things.
Well, and he says too later on in there where he says, well, if you dream of bad things, you know that you're still going, but when you start dreaming of good things, you know you're at your end.
Yeah, and it was really disheartening, and then it comes up more times, but the more times it comes up, it felt to me like the dad becomes more and more paranoid, which actually, when you see the ending of the movie, kind of feels like
because
paranoid for no reason.
Well, not paranoid for no reason, because there were literal cannibal groups after trying to,
you know what I mean,
kill them. But no, again, when we actually get to a couple of scenes, we can just stop interjecting like, well, actually, if they had just stopped, it would have been fine.
It would have been better, maybe
better.
not.
Well, not fine, but better. But then we have the Coke scene. And then after that, like immediately they have that one nice moment, and then the boy says, "They're like, I wish I was with mom." So you wish you were dead? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was the consequence. And then you had that flashback where she goes out into the dark, kind of explaining us, the viewers, what exactly happened to her. Because we realize, she's dead, but we don't know how she died.
Yeah.
And then,
because that's after he initially has a flashback after that about, which comes up later. Again, setups and payoffs are great in this film too, because like she's teaching him how to play that song on the piano, and later he actually does end up playing it for boy.
Yep.
And then later they have that conversation where, well, as he's taking his wedding ring off and he leaves it behind because he remembers how she left. Yeah,
on that bridge where I put it on. It's basically this. This is the setup, as in they talked about like keeping the flame, and one of the things that came up is this is also keeping the flame, is like the music, the stuff that is like beyond your basic needs. If you look at Maslow's pyramid, remember music is one of the like highest on the ladder because you don't really need it to survive, but it's a part of humanity. I felt like it was a sort of a tease because I kind of knew it was coming back around, but I thought, okay, he's gonna play the piano somewhere and then he's gonna get discovered, which really didn't happen. One of those things where I thought it was like an obvious setup to being set up, but it didn't happen the way I thought it would happen. And yeah, one of the things that he was on that bridge and he pushes the sort of the wedding ring away. I wouldn't, but then we have, I can't show this.
There's some scenes you definitely cannot show.
Yeah,
The one thing
you see what I see.
they did have that they did have, again, it's juxtaposed between there are some, again, this film is very dark, but there are some lighter moments. Like they have the Coke scene, and then they have the waterfall scene, which happened there.
I'm not sure if it's there that he sees the rainbow. Is it here that? Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it's right there. It's like, look at all the colors.
Like I said before, the entire movie is very gray. So sort of rainy, gray. All the tones are muted and gray. And then you have these moments where you see color, and it coincides with moments of joy, of happiness,
Levity.
yeah, levity and like discovery. Oh, look, Dad, what is this? It's like, oh, you don't understand. He doesn't really explain what the rainbow is. He says, oh, look at the pretty colors, right? And this is one of the moments where you don't need too much, like, this is in terms of physics, son, you have to understand the light kind of breaks.
It's actually just the refraction of light.
Yeah. He doesn't really explain it, and it's good that he doesn't. It's like you enjoy the thing for the thing itself rather than being like knowing the science behind it, which was great. And then they have that sort of levity moment, and then they find
that it goes to the manor,
and now the manor.
The first thing about the manor that always kind of was the first time when I read the book, because I read the book before I saw the film, and when I read the book, because it distinctly details the room with all of the shoes, I'm like, run, get out of there.
Yeah, you don't really get. I don't remember visuals of the room with the shoes, to be perfect.
Because it's when they're walking in, he turns and just sees this pile of shoes. And it's like, that can't be a good sign. That means there are more than whoever did live here or whoever did live there.
Yeah. And thank you, Jillian.
Thank you, Jillian.
5 gifted subs. Thank you. Last time you did this, and I told you this on the chat, on a different podcast, that I was so sorry, but it didn't really come up. Now it did. So thank you for your generosity. And we will continue because this is a rough moment of the movie that I really didn't expect, because they went to this house and it seems like they kind of like found this cache. And remember, this is right after the scene where they're having that sort of joyous moment where they were laughing when they were inside this pool, and they were kind of washing themselves, and they're laughing, and the rainbow and everything, and they like, oh, we found a house, nobody's here, and there's a
locked crawl space.
Yeah,
they're like,
cache of food, maybe.
Well, guys, I think his man says they've locked it for a reason. And he immediately goes to the barn.
Yeah, immediately goes to the barn, gets something to open his thing. He opens it, and they go down the cellar, and it's piles of human, barely alive. Some of them having some of their limbs missing, and for a split second, I thought, well, they probably gnaw it off themselves. But then everything kind of happens when they run away from that, like run away from that cellar immediately. The boy is completely in shock. The man is like, oh no, I know what's going on. As soon as they go out, the people who have
Raiders
like
come back,
owned
yeah,
the manor or
back, yeah.
took over the manor or whatever come back, and all the man can do is put a table on top of this closed
To
storage,
put it back where it was supposed
Yeah.
to be. Yeah.
and run away. And this
Well, they
is a
go-
moment where we're like,
go-
oh my god, they are about to be caught.
Yeah. Well, they go up the stairs, and in the bathroom, you could see where basically that was their abattoir up there.
Yes.
Yeah. And then, oh god, that scene with where man believes that again, now that they have only one bullet left, this all boy says, "Will I see you again?" Ugh.
Yeah, this was an intense moment. I'm gonna drop it off the screen because YouTube. This is a movie called The Road.
Yes.
Far be it for me to say that this is a very difficult emotional moment in the movie. It's visually very hard to watch. Visually very hard to watch. And all you're thinking is, if I was the man, like, how desperate am I to not get caught? And the only thing that saved him was the people that are banging on the storage room and almost opening it up to alert all the cannibals. We'll call them cannibals because that's what they are. Rushing into that kitchen to see what's happening and leaving an opening for the man and the boy to actually run away, which just literally put you on the edge. But if you didn't really notice, this is like minute 40 out of an hour 40 movie.
Yeah.
But you still don't know
What's going to happen.
what's going to happen.
Yeah.
'Cause
As an aside, just to bring up a little levity on our side,
Mhm.
this movie brought me back to Mad Max for a second.
To the original Mad Max?
No,
Oh, Mad Max
Road
2?
Warrior. Yeah.
Okay.
One of the cannibals had a big old spyglass.
Oh, fine. Okay.
You got to take levity where you can get it in this movie, man.
I know what you're talking about. I can probably. It's probably there somewhere. I'll leave it running while we talk. And I didn't even I knew there is. It's not as big as the gyro.
It's not as big as the gyro pilots, but
Yeah, it's I know. But it's a moment where you're like, it's sort of a phew moment, I guess, that I really didn't expect, because it's sort of like it belongs in like a thriller movie or an action thriller movie where like the heroes almost get caught by the bad guys. And it seems a bit out of place. And then you got that scene where he's got the gun to the boy's head and was like,
yeah, you're like, oh god damn it, Cormac McCarthy.
yeah, exactly.
Right
But
after that,
But then we've got a sort of like, I think it's a levity moment, but not really.
well, it's
how
very
the man grew up.
It's very interesting the way that this is done, because after that they do have that conversation where boy flat out just asks him like, well, will we ever resort to eating people?
Yeah.
Like, no, no matter how hungry we get, no, we will never do that.
Yeah, and I think he even mentions that that's what the bad guys do, or maybe it's later. Maybe I'm conflicting the two, but sort of like it kind of hints the fact that the bad guys eat other people and the good guys who keep the flame do not. Yeah. Or is it? I just thought about it. I don't know. It's very interesting because it does carry through the movie. this whole bit. One of the things I wanted to. Oh yeah, while we're at the man's house, the
Okay,
man.
so the scene with the man is very, very important because this brings up one bit where it's kind of the it's almost as if a man is reaching his mental breaking point, and Boy can even see it, and Boy even says when they're in the house, "I don't think we should be here. I don't think this is a good idea," and he
Yeah,
is exactly right.
yeah, I know. Where he's like I said, there. I mentioned a moment of levity and color, and one of the things is this. It's that itty bitty crayons that he had, and it
Yeah.
kind of circles back to one of the flashbacks where the boy was doing some sketches on the wall with some, I think it was chalk rather than crayons, but he wants he wants to do what kids do, where it's like drawing and playing around. And when he's outside, he notices something, something in the background.
Yeah.
Now,
So this is actually a playoff that comes up throughout the remainder of the film, starting here, where there actually was a little boy that he did see.
yeah, for a split second.
Yeah.
Now, you see it for a split second, and because because the movie was grounded in reality, I never thought he was dreaming it or just imagining it. I never thought for a second he was imagining anything, because later on he does see this woman in the window for a split second, but because it's all grounded in sort of reality, right?
Well, and there's also when they're in the, well, we'll just, we're gonna spoil it anyway, but but when they're in the underground bunker, he was like, "Oh, is that? I hear a dog." It
Yes.
was them.
Yes. And the one thing that was set up from the beginning is that there are no animals left. And then the boy hears a dog. It's
Dog.
like, no, there's no animals left. Like, the man wouldn't lie. But it all comes down to his like ever growing paranoia and
Yeah.
over defensiveness of the boy, because that's all he's got left.
Yeah.
And that's why he's almost willing to kill him to spare him,
To save him.
like being by himself.
Well, no, to save him the actual trauma of
Yeah.
being slowly butchered.
Yeah.
And then after this, we have the scene where they're literally in that rain there, and a boy just asks flat out, "Are we gonna die now?"
Yeah. It's
He said, "Oh, what do you think? We're just going to just keel over?" No, death from starvation takes a little bit longer.
yeah, and this is the house where the piano is,
Yes.
and the man is kind of half tempted to click on it for some reason, but then he stops himself.
Well, it was right before this. They actually have man having his actual psychological break.
Yeah, I know. There, kind of.
It's right after this when they're in the house and Boy is
Oh,
off
yeah.
in another room.
Yeah.
And he is by himself. So when he's actually by himself away from Boy again, he can then just break down. Because he doesn't want Boy to see that. Because he is supposed to be the one to be his protector, and he can't see him show any signs of weakness. Because he
Yep.
got to be sure that Boy knows that he's going to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to move forward to the bunker, if you don't mind.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
It's outside of this house, and as they go down to the bunker, I want to have a good VLC is terrible. Come on. There. You know what? That's a good picture. Okay. So as they go down to the bunker and they found this food, and they go back to the house and they actually wash themselves thoroughly. The man even chops off a little bit of his beard to make it look.
And again, they have
good.
that one bit of levity where the kid doesn't know how to properly pronounce Cheetos. And then also like shampoo.
I think the man even drinks a full-on like Gatorade or glucosate or whatever
No,
it is.
it was vitamin water.
Vitamin waters.
And later he has a bottle of Jack and he's smoking a joint. He's like, this guy has not had it this good in a very, very, very long time.
Yeah, and as they turn on I wanted to have that moment where they turn on the light and the man sees this pantry, this bunker,
Yeah.
and like I said, if you notice, it's very colorful. And it's very colorful while they're down there. When they go to shower, it's a little bit gray. But when they even see how much grime comes off both of them, which kind of pulls into this tub, right? But then when they go down and they have that dinner, everything is bright, everything is colorful. Like all the colors are there. It's very warm. It's very nice. But there's still that danger. Like they sit down, like they have that dinner and they go to bed, and you don't know how long they've been there, but they've been there a couple of days probably. And then the boy says, I hear a dog outside.
Oh, well, wait. I was going to say before that, what's interesting is during that dinner, man says something that is patently true for the child. When he has that sip of whiskey and that boy asks, and then he smokes they hit up that joint, and then he coughs a little bit, and he looks at the boy and says, "You think I'm from another world, don't you?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of. It's the world before the apocalypse, kind of, but not really. It's a taste of the old life, the old world, as opposed to the new world where it's apocalypse and destroyed. But it's very interesting. Like I said, it's
and there is that bit too where he goes through boy's stuff and sees his collection, and he has that flashback to his wife at the man and woman at that one piano recital. But then when boy wakes up, he says, "Hey, don't touch my stuff."
Yeah, don't touch my stuff. And it's sort of, like I said, it always brings me back to the fact that it's a boy, has boy mannerisms. He's not like, he's still not accustomed to.
No, he's not this whole survivalist. No, he was born this set of circumstances, but he's still a child.
Yeah, yeah. And then, like I said, he hears this dog, and the man springs it to action, and I'm gonna say again, paranoia of sorts, or let's say over defensive. It's like, you heard something. I believe you heard something. I don't think it's a dog, but I think it's something else. We have to go.
We have to go. Yeah.
Yeah, like we have to go. And the boy doesn't want to leave. And it's like, I would maybe stay. I
In a
don't
way,
know.
it makes a lot of sense unless they were just completely outmanned there. But in a way, it would be very difficult for anyone to try to really infiltrate that bunker with them in there, because there is obviously like one way in, one way out. They don't have any way to like any kind of I don't know, proprietary or improvised explosives to throw down there to flush them out or to kill them. So it's like they'd have to go down one at a time.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it in a way, it's sort of you have to survive, and you have a place to survive in that is kind of outside of the norm, but there's always roving gangs. If we discovered it, maybe somebody else
will. Yeah.
will. So I get why.
As an aside, sorry. One thing that man did, which was very intelligent, because if the other people hadn't been following him and he hadn't heard that dog noise, they probably would have stayed there for longer, because how man moved that wet mattress over the entrance to hide it.
Yep.
Again, showing that man has been through things like this before, and he knows what to do in order to cover his trail in a way. Yeah. But then after when they do leave, they run across
an
friend
old
Eli, the old man.
Yeah, and this entire thing was weird from start to finish. And I tell you why it was weird, because I thought he's going to turn on them this second he can.
You know, the first time I read the book, I thought the exact same thing.
Like that was my initial reaction. He's going to placate them. He's going to sell them something. He's going to relate to the boy. The boy's going to relate to them. And as soon as humanly possible, he's going to flip
turn.
on them.
Yeah.
And this is where the whole are you a good guy or bad guy, kind of thing goes into this, where the old man can barely see or doesn't see at all. In the book, he can't see at all, right?
It's Cormac McCarthy read that his eyes were milky as if his cataracts had just gone.
Oh, okay. So he's basically he cannot see unless it's
it's basically like he can see shapes and forms, because that's even how it's described in the film.
Yeah, I think he says it to the man that he can only see shapes in the dark.
Yeah.
And he tells them about his boy, like his grandson.
Well, from there, just before then, we get the bits of levity in the film. The only couple of jokes that are in there, because again, man is very stern against giving him any food, doing anything, but to placate his son and also to show his humanity to his son, he offers to have. Well, he gives him the can of fruit cocktail first, and then they have dinner together. He offers dinner, and he looks over at Boy and says, "I know you're going to ask, and no, what's that? Can we keep him?"
Yeah, can we keep him?
And during that, while they're walking, goes, "How old are you? 90s? 90s my ass. Is that what you say to get people to leave you alone? Yeah. Does it work? Nope." See, there's two jokes right there, and that's like right in the middle there, and that's
it's so crazy because Robert Duvall had a lot of ad libs in his sort of. He has that place where he just talks quite a bit. A lot of it's ad libs. And Viggo just rolled with it because Viggo had lines that he had to hit, and he hit his lines. But Robert Duvall did a lot of ad libs, and he had lines, but he added in a few extra bits.
The entire thing about his son,
ad libbed. Yeah, the whole thing.
That's the most heartbreaking thing about his story.
That he ad-libbed the son part?
No, of the old man's story.
Yeah,
is I had a son, but I can't talk about him.
Which means something really bad happened, yes. Like really, really bad.
Then we have and also Robert Duvall has some of the greatest lines in this too, when they're having the conversation about God. Because, he said if God were paying attention, he would have turned his back on us a long time ago.
Which means it kind of gives you a hint about the apocalypse, but not really, because you get to thinking, well, maybe it's us that did this. Maybe it's not a natural disaster. Maybe it's a climate change thing. Maybe we don't know. Yeah. And that's what kept me in this movie, because like the entire thing was really dark and really awful, and you don't want to be in this situation at all. But it's very interesting to know what happened. You want to know what happened. And none of these characters give you enough information for you to piece together some sort of a story.
Mm-hmm. And then he also, man poses the question, do you ever just wish you would die?
Mm.
And what does Eli say?
That I don't remember.
No, it's foolish to look for such luxuries in times like these.
That's right. It's like I said. Yeah. And then, of course, as they roll around, because they leave the man and they continue on with the story. And this is where I thought the moment where I thought, please turn around and get the fuck out of there as soon as I saw this picture. You were like, I know what this is. Run.
Run.
And they
Yeah.
kept moving until they heard the screams.
Well, that and they see the snow and the bloody boot prints, like the big pile of just snow with blood all over it, and then boot prints actually leading into it and leading out of it, where it's like,
Yeah.
get out of there.
Get out of there quick. And they do, like, they don't have a run-in, but they were very, very close to the point.
Because while they're running away and right before the earthquake happens, that woman with the child get caught, and you can clearly hear them being cut down.
Yeah. And then, of course, the earthquake happens, and they barely kind of escape through through like being between two fallen trees. And as another tree falls, it kind of saves them from being squished completely. Again, one of those things where, like, there are tension moments in this movie that kind of come up out of the woodwork, that kind of out of the blue, a tension moment, and then it dies off and right back into the road, right back into their travels. All right. I have a little bit more left in terms of, we've got the coast, the thief, the sickness, and the last kind of bits with the arrows, right?
The arrow, and then finally with the last scene with them on the beach, and then the veteran and motherly woman finding
okay.
boy.
So what we'll do now, before we go into the thing, before they reach the coast, there's a moment there, the moment where they go into this church, and the man is coughing a little bit more. He was coughing throughout, kind of after they were in the bunker. They started coughing, but it wasn't something that was out of the ordinary. And then you have this fits of cough in this church, and we kind of see what's happening as he throws up blood after a severe cough.
And what I was thinking is, the first thing that popped in my head, just oddly enough, not when I read it, but when I just doing a review of it, all I could think of was Red Dead Redemption 2.
I didn't play that game.
Spoiler alert for it, but Arthur Morgan, the main character, ends up getting tuberculosis.
Okay. So what I was thinking is tuberculosis is something that you would get in an environment like that, where it's dirt, grime, and the air is filled with like shit, like real terrible shit. And there's no, like, you could get, if there are hospitals, you can get that treated right away and not coming this far to having actual blood coming out of your lungs. But in an environment like this, no hospitals, no nothing, and the air is it's very terrible to breathe regardless. Not great sanitary conditions.
Well, and also, like, it could be tuberculosis, or it could be countless other respiratory diseases with it. Like, and again, we don't know exactly what caused the apocalypse. Like, if it was man-made, it could be an issue due to fallout, like radiation. If it were actually to be like a nuclear bomb, or if it was just for, like, again, what my crackpot hypothesis was, the fact that if it were just a caldera to go off, the amount of debris that would still be in the air and ash, inhaling that would eventually wear upon your respiratory system.
Yeah, and the thing is this. At this moment, I was like, okay, I understand if something goes down and this movie becomes completely horrible, the man would use the gun on his son because he knew that he's so far gone in terms of he cannot repair his lungs. There is no way to do that. He's going to push forward as much as he can and then maybe take care of his son and just die somewhere in a ditch, like coughing up his lung. Because that's exactly what I was thinking at that particular moment, where for the man, it's hopeless. He is basically as good
Correct.
as dead at this point.
Yep.
He's doing this to get to the coast to fulfill some sort of a dying wish that his wife like gave him. So he's on the road to get to the beach in order for his son to see a blue skies or blue water, and
blue
then
water, yeah.
the end of the road. Because I'm talking just my thoughts at that particular moment, because I didn't know. And I think if you're watching this for the very first time, you don't actually know.
Correct.
And maybe you're led to believe that way. And it's, like I said, there are many moments where you're led to believe something that didn't actually fulfill itself at the end. But, all right, cool. Breather. Everyone breathe. We'll take 5 minutes to breathe, or maybe a little bit more to breathe, and we'll play our second game of the night. It is called Screen Fighter.
Round 1, fight.
Screen Fighter, for the uninitiated, is where we take two movies, we pit them together and see which one is the best one. If there's no discernible difference between the two, both of them are good or both of them are bad, we fall into our criteria, which is Saturday evening, Friday evening, out with the boys, out with the girls, out with their significant other, two movies in a vacuum. Which one will we pop in? Star Trek V, The Final Frontier, or Daddy's Home 2. I had a much better coupling when I started this, but we'll leave it at that.
Thanks for the laugh, Beth. I really needed it for a minute there.
See, I had a much better pair, which were a lot more funny than this,
Okay.
but we'll start with these terrible movies. Paul is like, oof. Maybe the Trek film.
Even as much as I did not like Star Trek V, we discussed it. Remember?
Yeah, kind of.
I'll even give it that, because Daddy's Home 1 should not have been made. Daddy's Home 2, why?
Electric Boogaloo. See, we needed that. All right, keeping with the Star Trek phenomenon, Galaxy Quest, or The Land Before Time, the animated movie.
Yes. This is actually a lot more difficult than you think. Because typically you think I would just go immediately Galaxy Quest, because it's a great comedy.
But I know you.
But I grew up on The Land Before Time. I absolutely adore that movie.
I'm not sure.
But again, given our criteria, which, oh yeah, by the way, you didn't do the whole spiel before.
Hmm?
You didn't do the spiel today.
What spiel?
Out with the boys, out with the girls.
I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You blanked out. Wow.
Yeah.
So, Land Before Time?
I'll give you Galaxy Quest. I was going to say, given the criteria, I would rather watch Galaxy Quest again. But still, The Land Before Time, especially if you have kids, do yourself a favor.
Yeah,
it's still a fun movie.
I need to give it to my kids to watch. To me, Galaxy Quest is a love letter to anybody who's a Trek fan. It's a great movie. By the way, it still holds up till today. The Mask, or Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit. That's the second one?
I believe so.
I think the second one. Feelings? Chat participation is most welcome. I can see what you wrote.
The Mask is just far, like, The Mask is one of the most underrated Jim Carrey performances, because they just let him go full slapstick.
I agree. I'm not a fan of Wallace and Gromit at all. I really don't like Wallace and Gromit at all. I like stop motion animation. And when it comes to stop motion animation, Wallace and Gromit is very, very well made. But I'm going to go with The Mask. It has Richard Jenny in it too. Also, I haven't seen this, so
it was basically a spoof on the Beatles, obviously.
Probably, yeah. Kill Bill 1 or The Soloist.
Have you seen The Soloist?
I have.
Come on.
I don't even like Kill Bill, but it's not really a contest. Okay.
Oof.
Okay. Easy Rider or A Time to Kill. This is much more difficult than
Now,
you think.
That's a fantastic Japanese poster for
I know.
Easy Rider.
I know.
A Time to Kill is one of those I have to be in a mood to watch almost kind of a thriller to really get into the mood of it. And Easy Rider is also one of those movies after a certain point in time, you kind of want to turn it off.
Yeah, okay. I see where you're getting at.
Yeah.
Choose.
Complete toss up for me. I could go either way.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go with A Time to Kill. Easy Rider is an iconic film. It still holds up, but you have to understand, Easy Rider is a movie that is like, it's meant for a specific generation, for a specific time, and a specific place.
Yeah.
It's well acted. It's well constructed.
Because this was after the Lacuna riots, the biker riots, right? Yeah, it was.
But they wanted to have a movie that is remember, I don't know if you know, there were a lot of like B movies that are like Hell's Angels kind of a thing. There were lots of sex, lots of like people writing, fighting, like violence, all that stuff. And this one took it to the next level and brought like a genuine story of a ride. I'm gonna go with Time to Kill.
Well, and also at this time too, the Hell's Angels were very much in the zeitgeist.
Yeah, very much like I said, of the time, of the place, and kind of like breaking through the B movie level into like mainstream, telling you a story from a very specific angle. It's hard for me to describe, and I even saw it like a year and a half ago. Right, I've got time. One more, two more. Let's do two more. Come on, here we go. Oh, see, it jumped on us. Romy and Michelle High School Reunion or Snatch?
Which we'll be covering very soon.
Yes. The Predator. I haven't seen this.
You've never seen Hudsucker Proxy?
No.
You'd absolutely love it.
Probably. I don't know.
Well, we're going to have to do another one because this one's way too easy. It's Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. Come on. We've talked about how underrated that movie is.
Yeah. Finding Neverland or Son
of the Mask.
Well,
have you ever seen Son of the Mask?
I have.
It is awful.
I've seen 20 minutes of Son of the Mask.
I've seen the entire movie on several occasions.
It's so weird because I've seen about 20 minutes of Son of the Mask and about 35 minutes of Finding Neverland.
You want to just do haven't seen either and just do a reroll on this one because this is a bad pairing.
Even Paul Harley is like, I've never seen both of them.
I don't want to even talk about these movies.
I would genuinely go for Finding Neverland, but it's such a bad Peter Pan adaptation. It's so bad. Yeah. And by the way, clearly Johnny Depp was there. I think Finding Neverland is a Disney movie or Disney distributed movie. So it was part of the whole Jack Sparrow deal, I think.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
I think. And Johnny Depp was there to cash in, but he was not there at all.
I would say he was there to get a check, but he was checked out.
Right. Mulan or Millions?
I don't think I've ever seen Millions.
All right. It's okay. Oh,
come on.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Rocky 5 or Mulan?
Happy birthday, Polly.
I'm going to pick Rocky 5. I don't like Mulan at all.
I would
At all.
also go with Rocky 5, even though I think Mulan is one of the better late 90s Disney films.
Yeah, even Paul is like, Rocky 5.
I think Mulan is better than Pocahontas.
I've seen Rocky 5 like 6 months ago, 8 months ago with my kids, where we saw like all of the Rocky movies. It's definitely the worst one, including Creed 2.
Yes. Yeah. Happy birthday, Polly.
All right. In the Line of Fire or Saw 3. Two completely different movies.
I definitely would watch In the Line of Fire. It's just a better film overall. Saw 3 is when they started going completely off the rails in the Saw franchise.
I have seen only Saw 1. I'm not gonna put I haven't seen it. Even if I put in Saw 1, I would go with In the Line of Fire. Yeah. Gore like slasher, like I'm not gonna say gore porn, but it's gore fest.
Well, what they called it back in the day was torture porn.
Torture porn. Okay. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of it at all. I don't see the merit of it. I know Saw has a complete like storyline to it, but
to be fair, again, that's why I said like Saw 3 is when it started going completely off the fucking rails. It got the story of Saw got so convoluted by, I think they're on Saw 10 now.
Yeah,
and Saw 10's a reboot of it was technically a prequel. It's so. Ugh.
Yeah, the problem with me is remember I told you I need to watch like Terrifier and Terrifier 2. I was
because guess what? Terrifier 3 is coming out soon. I can't wait.
I
can't wait.
Not because Terrifier 3 is coming out. I was supposed to do them for the Project 31 thing. Maybe this October.
I'll tell you. Well, if you want to talk about gore porn or torture porn, that's Terrifier. Like soup to nuts.
I know.
It is. It's a movie where I can go, you know what? Art the Clown just kills people. That's all you need to know about Terrifier. There is no rhyme or reason. He just does it.
Yeah, I'm not really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. Where we are, it's okay. So there's a moment where the boy thinks they're at one place, but the man is like, okay, no, we're not. We're actually closer to the coast than you think. And the boy kind of asks him the fact that, is it blue? And the man is like, I think so.
Well,
but he doesn't really know. Right? Yeah. And when they get to the beach, it's this. Not blue at all. Not blue at all. And the boy is very disappointed. And the man is very disappointed too. And this is the point of the movie where I'm stumped because I don't know where they're going to go next. I don't know where the story is going to go next. I'm looking at the clock. The clock is like, okay, there's like a half an hour of a movie left. Where's the end game here? Like, okay, they set off on this road. The road led to the beach. They got to the beach. They went through all these toils and trials and tribulations along the way. They just escaped that cannibal camp where they almost got found and killed, maybe. And we're at the beach. What's the end game here? What is going on? Is there any explanation for this?
On what they're planning on doing next?
Yes.
No.
And then the boy gets sick. And this is the point where I was like, okay, we know the dad is sick. Now the boy is sick. We're at the final destination, and there's I'm looking for something that they can do. Are they going to just be slowly running away from disease on that beach? What's going on? And this is where the dad goes off to this. He sees like there's a shipwreck, and he's like, I'm going to go and search for the shipwreck. And he leaves the boy behind after he kind of went through the disease and kind of healed up a little bit. But he's still there on the beach, asleep. And a thief
And we have
steals everything.
We've got Omar from The Wire.
Yeah, Omar from The Wire. Because the man goes up to the ship and he finds this flare gun. That's the only thing he kind of finds. And they... I'm going to leave it at this. He goes back and the boy's like, somebody stole everything. And they run off. I think they're just going to continue on, but they run off and they find the thief, and the man threatens him and he makes him take off his clothes and takes them away. And I was like, that's a really bad thing to do. And the boy points it out to the man.
Well, and also too, right after this too, the boy actually has that confrontation with him about that. Because well, what are you gonna do with I'm not gonna be here forever. It's just like, well, you don't really think about what is going to happen next. I can't be the only one. It's like, well, you're not the only one.
Yeah, exactly. And to me, I think that was one of the things that didn't sit well with me. I know the man is trying to protect his son, but taking all of his clothes, it's basically killing him slower.
Yes, it's leaving him to die of exposure. Yeah,
and it's like, really?
Oh, I don't know if you noticed what happened. The thief missing his thumbs.
Yes, I did notice it.
It's too the veteran at the end of the film, Guy Pearce,
was missing his thumbs.
One of his thumbs is gone.
Didn't notice it. But then he leaves, and this is, I think that was the most idiotic thing ever. So they left him his clothes and a can of food, expecting him to survive enough time to actually get to that point.
To come back.
Where
you had already threatened to kill him. You got his weapon from him. Is he going to follow you? Is he going to come back and try to... Well, he said, I wasn't following you, which actually the thief wasn't. He just happened to stumble upon them.
Yeah, and that's a point that comes up a little bit later where in the town when they get shot by the arrows and he shoots the flare gun, the guy gets killed and he goes into the house and he's like, why are you following me? And the lady there who is mourning for her partner, I guess, she's like, we didn't follow you. We are here. And this kind of contributes to the man with the ever-growing paranoia. It's not just, I know people are after us. It's, I'm looking for the cannibals from all around the corner, people actually following me and my son, where it seems like, again, the thief was sort of an opportunist, and the people who were there were just there. We can jump up to it.
Oh, we do have that scene with the arrow. Oh, God.
Yeah, he got an arrow stuck to his leg, and he kept running with the arrow in his leg.
Because it was in his calf. Because doing the retrospective, the first time I was thinking of this, I was a survivor. You once until I got an arrow in the knee. Yeah. Skyrim reference.
Okay.
But I do like the fact that the way that Hillcoat shot the scene shows that it was an actual modern hunting arrow that he was shot with, because it was a triangle tip on the inside. Because when he pulled it out, did you see the gigantic cut that it left?
Yes. So when it penetrated, it didn't penetrate and left a small hole. It just ripped through the
No,
entire
it
flesh.
penetrated, but the way he had to pull it out, it made a bigger gash when he had to take the arrow out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get to the point where he shoots the flare. There.
Yeah, I just say too, hell of a shot.
That's a hell of a shot. That's a hell of a shot. He got bull. Not only did he get the inside the window shot, he got the dude shot.
Like it's
straight in the-
directly square in the chest too.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of this too. Again, I'm trying to think like of some lighter moments because I was thinking of Kramer telling the story about the proctologist. All of this, because whenever you meet a proctologist at a party, you always want to sit by him because they always have to say, "1 in a million shot, doc."
And it was. And when the man goes into the house and he confronts we'll call it a wife, I guess, or partner, or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
It's like, why you follow me? We're living here. And then he leaves. He goes into this hardware store, not really hardware store, but there was a point where the kid, the boy, turned around, and like I said, there was a woman in the window, a fleeting moment of a woman kind of looking and going out, where he saw her for a second and
Yes.
then she left. And again, because this is sort of grounded in reality, I was like, yeah, he's not dreaming this. There
Yeah, so that
are
was-
people following him, but it's not the people he thinks.
That was Motherly Woman.
Yes.
That we see at the end of the film,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is odd too because they actually really are good people, and it's just that again, man's paranoia would have never allowed them
Yeah.
to be around his son. Never.
And like I said, the man goes into this hardware store or whatever store, and he just tries to staple his leg back together after he pulls the arrow, which is, to be honest, a big no-no. But
You're not supposed to do that. No.
but he has no hospital, so he has to take care of it. But then he's dying regardless of the arrow. It sped the timeline. So they get to another point in the coast where he
Well, what's
we
great
see
is
the reason why we see a flashback of him with the wife at the coast at that particular point, probably like in better times. Again, you see the color, and it's a fleeting moment, and then he just collapses.
but this is what it's a setup and payoff of what he had mentioned just a couple of scenes earlier. It's when
Yep.
you start to dream about good things, you should start to worry because remember at the beginning, it's a flashback of that, and his dreams in between then are the confrontations that he had with women that he's thinking of and that he's dreaming of. And near
Yeah.
the end of it, he's dreaming of more and more positive memories from his past.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's sort of a heartbreaking moment because the man is dying and then he's
He's dying.
dead, and the boy's alone, and there's
Well, because he has that entire speech about like how you have to keep going, which is like, it's a gut punch. It is a gut punch.
and the boy does have one bullet left. Is it? No. Did he shoot?
No, he has one bullet left
He's got one bullet left.
because he shot the flare gun.
Yeah, and you're like, when the time comes, will the boy be able to do it? Because that's what you have on your mind. You don't know what's going on. And again, after the guy dies, we see the confrontation between the veteran. That's what it's called in the
Yep, he's just
right?
the veteran.
the veteran, which he looks like another one of those cannibals, right? Every single time they were running into cannibals, they always had like shotguns or any type of gun, ammunition, all of that. So we know the people who are well armed are supposedly cannibals. And he asks him, "Are you a good guy or a bad guy? And do you keep the flame?" And he's go ahead.
Well, no, and the veteran too is like, you're kind of weirded out, aren't you, kid?
Yeah. And to me, this harkens back to the conversation that they had with the first cannibal that told the man that I reckon you're not able to shoot this.
I'm just like, I reckon you're a chicken shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me,
Well, and also too, the options that he gives the boy, the options like, I don't want your pistol. I'm saying like, you can come with us or you can go by yourself. But he flat out tells him like the proper like, just don't go back on the road because if you're
Yeah.
by yourself, like you're gonna get snatched up immediately. Like you're done.
and to me, it was like, have the boy and the man made a mistake going on the road rather than just traveling through like
Back
the
channels
countryside?
and woods and yeah.
Yeah, which I don't know, because some of the places that they went through had like scattered houses, but it looked like rural country. But never mind. But of course, you're like, I was expecting it to end up really, really badly, but it ends up kind of hopeful in a way,
Yeah.
right?
And then I think you have there was probably the most gut wrenching scene for me, and it's still even seeing it.
Yeah. It's and again, at this particular moment, you're like, okay, so if he's a cannibal and he managed to dupe him, the boy goes to his dad, says goodbye, and he's gonna get fucking eaten. I don't know how to say it differently. But it doesn't. So there's a moment there of goodbye from the dad.
And I was just like, I'll talk to you every day.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. But then he goes up and he meets this family and he immediately knows for two reasons.
Well, they have 2 kids and the dog.
They have kids and they have a dog, which kind of alerts to the fact that he's never seen cannibals with animals or with children. And the motherly woman is like, you're going to come and be with us and we'll take care of you.
We followed you for so long. You don't have to worry anymore. We don't have to worry anymore.
Yeah. Because they
And I
were
think- and he was just
afraid
like,
of the
okay.
man for some reason.
Well, yeah, because look how unhinged he kind of was near the end. Because he was again, his paranoia had gotten to the point where had they come close,
Yeah, he would have probably done something. Maybe not shoot, but done something to defend themselves. But yeah, and like I said, it was gut-wrenching, but yet there was a sliver of hope. I guess I wanted to see the good in that last kind of bit, and I'm not sure if it's in the book or not.
it is. And that's because there's a kind of hopeful optimism in this, and I think I'm sorry, I'm forgetting of the actual composer's name who did the score, but I think he did an excellent job of setting the more kind of it's somber, but it's more on a lighter tone.
And like I mentioned before, I was looking to see a little bit of color on the people because it's a happier moment. Not really, but it's a happier or more hopeful moment. No color change.
Yeah.
No color change. So there's still kind of muted gray tones, but the message itself is a little bit more hopeful. Yeah, the dad just died. Yeah, it's horrible. It's like it's gut-wrenching, but there's hope still that they're gonna continue on. That's all I could think of when I saw the end of the
Or
movie.
could you say that the fire keeps going?
The fire keeps going. Yeah.
Yeah.
The fire keeps going.
Yeah.
Whew, and that is about it. That's about it.
That's the road. Yeah.
Again, the one thing that I kept thinking about throughout this movie is, when is the real shit gonna hit the fan? And there were a lot of moments where stuff kind of like, okay, I know where this is going and it didn't really happen. and okay, they're going to go the different way, and that not really happened. Where's the big pitfall? Where's the moment where the training to commit suicide will go into effect? And they haven't really. And then they end up with this kind of hopeful moment, and they leave it at that. Like, they have no qualms about the fact that this apocalypse is, we need to survive this in some sort of way, somehow. But we'll continue on.
Yes.
And that's about it.
And in so many ways, this is why I think I had some major qualms when. Sorry, this is a side tangent.
It's fine.
When the Last of Us first came out, everyone's saying that this is the best post-apocalyptic story that has ever been released. I'm like, no, The Last of Us is just the road with mushroom zombies.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah. It's weird because I haven't played The Last of Us, but I've seen a full playthrough of The Last of Us. Having seen this movie, there are a lot of parallels.
Yeah, some parallels are nearly 1-to-1. Yeah,
like a lot of them. And even if you'll say, okay, The Last of Us took the book maybe and just did it in a game form and actually do explain the apocalypse. The Last of Us explains what happened, and they just put you in that world.
Yes.
And they connect Ellie with Joel, right? Yeah. And in this case, it's a father and son. It's a completely different dynamic, but not really.
Not really.
Because Ellie is Joel's surrogate daughter. And if you haven't played the game, if you've seen the series is
almost
really a 1-to-1.
It's nearly a 1-for-1 from the game. It's a lot of it's almost 1-for-1 shots.
Yeah,
the
there
only
are.
It's different is more about the is it Long Time Gone, the episode about, I can't remember the characters' names now. It's the couple, the gay couple.
The gay couple. Yeah,
that's the only one, because they go into way more detail in the show than they ever did in the game.
Yeah, I know. I know about that. But the issue is here, the parallel lines about there's a post-apocalyptic war, there's a father and son or father and daughter, same, on the same kind of level, just trying to survive to get to a place of safety.
To a place, yeah.
And in the road, you think the beach is the place of safety, but like I said, there's no end game there. There's no, like in Mad Max 2, we said they're going to the beach because there's a refugee camp there. There's a place where they can grow food. There's water. There's shelter. And then the beach, there's no promise of any shelter. There's nothing. They just get to the beach because of memories of the past. That's it. Which, again, the boys' disappointment of not watching the blue water is the same disappointment I have of there's no goal here. The goal here is to get to the end of the road, which doesn't really sit with me. And that's my only complaint in terms of story-wise. It's built into the story. It's a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, I guess.
Oh, that's fine.
But the whole movie is a bitter taste in your mouth, so I guess it's in form.
Yeah.
All right. Whew. Okay. So, boys and girls, we kind of ended this dystopian month with a lot of dystopian feelings, I guess. It really fitted with the entire month kind of way of thinking that we, when we did the schedule and kind of came up with this thing. Really, really good movie to end things with, because in this dystopian future is going to be this dark after a post-apocalyptic world would be this dark.
It would be this terrible. Yeah.
But June is my birthday month, and keeping with what we tried to do on your birthday month, you chose everything we're going to watch this month.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be fun because we have comedy, we have drama, we have thriller horror, and we've got some comedy horror.
Yeah.
And a movie that I saw recently that was weird. We'll call it that.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
But for next week, ladies and gentlemen, brush off if you've seen it or watch it for the very first time. We're gonna discuss Tucker and Dale versus Evil, which I have never seen yet because I'm not really a horror fan.
You're gonna have so much fun with this movie because you like Cabin in the Woods. Oh, you're gonna love this movie.
I was going towards Army of Darkness, maybe, but you
kind of with some of the slapstick humor a little bit, but you'll see.
All right. Anyway, guys, next week is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Paul Harley says it's good. I'm going to trust you, Paul. I'm going to trust you. I've seen snippets of it, so I know
I don't know what's wrong with these kids. They keep killing themselves.
I know what I'm getting myself into. That's why I kind of mentioned Army of Darkness, and we'll see. We'll see. So, guys, next week, Tucker and Dale. Thank you again, Jillian, for the lovely 5 gifted members. And stay tuned for more reviews. I'm working on Furiosa. I've basically finished writing it. I don't know if it's going to come out Monday. If you are following the channel in terms of reviews, I was trying to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday reviews. Ever since I got back from vacation, I've got some IRL stuff going on in the background that kind of prevents me from doing that. So keep following the channel for everything else. And until next week, I guess, remember, guys, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.